It's time for the Week in Review. Look at national, regional, and local stories from the past week. Here's Brandon Hansen, Managing Editor of the Chewelah Independent, and Scott Allen, Managing Director of Northern Lights Public Radio.
On this week's show, Brandon is starting us off with some news about Chair 4 at 49 degrees north.
Yes, the Chewelah Area Ski Resort, 49 degrees north, announced that unforeseen mechanical issues have closed down Chair 4 Silver Load for the remainder of the ski season. Due to the type of the repair that is required, which I assume is, going up to that chair and trying to fix it, the resort is unable to safely engage in the work to the lift during the ski season, which is understandable when there's like 100 and some inches of snow on the
Really, I imagine they are just buried up
there. Yeah. So, and it will also take 12 weeks to manufacture the replacement parts. So even if you went through all that work, it wouldn't even be done in time for the end of the ski season. Right. As a result of the closure, chairs 5 and 6, Sunrise Quad and Angel Peak will be moved to a more aggressive operational schedule for the spring season. Also in a separate incident, one chair was separated from chair 1 at the midway loading point. The skiers loading had their feet on the ground at the time of the chair detaching, and 49 degrees north's maintenance team was on site within minutes to assess and repair the chair. I just wanted to kind of get it out there. Multiple skiers told me that, this could happen at any resort. This wasn't like, it's kind of one of those freak things. You have to consider with as many chairs going up and down that it's just one of those freak incidents there.
That's scary, though.
It is and it isn't. I would assume if the chair wasn't attached to the lead line, it would have fallen off anyway, kind of deal. You would have realized rather quickly. It's not like you're going to be sitting on that line 50 feet up in the ground, then all of a sudden it decides to detach or something like that. Usually, like a loading or an unloading, you get weird different tensions because people are hopping off it or hopping on. And
sure.
Something attached to a line, once you put those stresses on it, then it might pop off kind of deal. So, and they do check those chairs every year, is what I've been told is you have to check those chairs just to make sure.
There's like state requirements and stuff.
Right. So, yeah, just kind of a freak incident there. And consider that, those chairs have a lot of, weathering that goes on.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, with all the snow. And it's just, it could really happen at any resort. And I'm sure it has happened at a lot of resorts, but the problem was somebody had a phone and was videotaping them repair it or something like that at the time, sent it to a news station, so then it made news. Right. Yeah. So I'm sure it's happened 100 times before at, other ski resorts and stuff and didn't make the news. But, hey, it makes a nice news story.
Yeah, those darn phones, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but with that other chair being closed for the season, can you imagine working on a ski lift during the ski season? Like trying to get all your guys up there to work on it and stuff and all the needed machinery and stuff. That would be just terrible.
Oh, man. Yeah, scary stuff there, but glad no one got hurt and it was easy peasy. Yeah. Right, the next one, Tim Iman being investigated for theft of a $70 office chair. Is this for real?
This is for real.
All right, initiative promoter Tim Iman. Now, this is the gentleman who got us $30 tabs years ago, right?
Yeah, $30 tabs, and he's always trying to come up with new initiatives there.
Okay. He was at the center of a misdemeanor theft case after an Office Depot had a $70 office chair stolen from the foyer. Video shows Iman allegedly stealing the chair at the store in Lacey, Washington. No.
Yes.
Iman is fresh off collecting signatures for his latest initiative to cut card tab fees to a flat $30 again. He's also under investigation for alleged kickbacks that Iman received from petition signature firms from as far back as 2009. Iman, known for several initiatives he's tried to get passed in the state, said he intended to pay for the chair, but got a cell phone call that distracted him, and he forgot.
Don't you hate when that happens?
All the time.
The video.
I got my last car.
Yeah, sorry. Didn't pay for it. Just drove it off the lot. The video, I would recommend, Scott, you go online and Google this because this video is hilarious. Because you can see him, and he is wearing one of his like campaign T-shirts. It's like "Let the taxpayers decide" or something. And you can see him walk in the foyer and kind of see that office chair. He starts spinning around, then he hops in it and takes it for a test drive. You know when you get in an office chair and you like spin around in it?
Oh, yeah.
That's what he starts doing. And then he sees somebody walk through, and as soon as that person leaves the foyer, he just walks out with it.
You know, that's so sad.
Well, what makes me think is either A, he did this to make headlines, B, because somebody, and now Tim is, I believe, going through a divorce and filed for bankruptcy. But I still say that either A, you're not desperate for an office chair.
Never. It's not like you stole food.
Right. And what makes me think is either it could be some kind of, some people like steal under stress, or there's some kind of like
They have an actual sickness. There was that actress that had it.
Right.
And I can't remember her name, but I remember it was a big deal.
But to me, it almost seems like, because it's just so weird. And it's very unnecessary. Like, he doesn't need an office chair. He probably has tons of office chairs. He's been doing this initiative promotion for 30 years. You can't tell me. How many office chairs do you have, Scott? You probably have them littered all about here.
Yeah, 6.
Yeah. Like, my dad's a logger. He has, like, 6 office chairs.
What does
like,
he need office chairs for, right?
Exactly. So what makes me think is it might be something like he's just going through a rough patch or something. It just something may have triggered in the brain. And again, I'm not a psychologist. I'm sorry, but it's just so weird to me. And it feels like some people, when they go to a rough patch, they like turn into a klepto or something.
They do stupid things.
Right.
The sad thing about this is because he's done something good for Washington State. He's trying to do it again, but then he pulls just a dumb move that totally ruins his credibility.
Right.
I mean, now when you hear his name, you're going to think petty, stupid crook.
Right.
That posts his robbery on Facebook, whatever. When you said made a comment that maybe he did it for marketing purposes or whatever, what a bad choice, because he just got the wrong kind of marketing.
Right. And it's just like he has the shirt on, like the Tim Eyman T-shirt on, and it's just that almost makes me think that he wasn't thinking straight or something. Because we've seen this before where somebody will steal something, and you're like, why? Like, like celebrities or somebody with money, and then they steal stuff, and it's like, why?
That's like that actress I was talking about.
Yeah,
she had no need for it, but it's a sickness.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Or, and it could be a thrill sickness too.
Yeah,
I did something I'm not supposed to, and I got away with it.
Right.
Well,
that's what I'm thinking.
And it's the same kind of thing.
Lines.
If you're in a hurry to get home from Spokane, and you're just going to take the chance. You don't think you just passed, a sheriff's vehicle, and you think that's probably the only one on 395. So you kick it up to 75 all the way home.
Right.
And then when you get home and realize, hey, I got home 10 minutes early, and I didn't get caught, and I didn't get a ticket. There's a kind of certain, I don't know, evil pride about that.
Right.
you know, those kind of situations. And I think something like this could be just, it's the thrill of it. Hey, look, I got away with it. But what a dumb move. You just shot your character in the foot.
Yeah, and he's pushing for it because, the tab prices have gone back up.
Nobody's going to respect anything that comes out of his mouth anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just wondering if this is something that famous people or somebody a little bigger than your normal average person just feels like, I can get away with it. I'm so-and-so, And that has a certain thrill to it. That, hey, I'm kind of a big deal. I can do this, and nobody's going to stop me, kind of deal. And I can see how that can get embedded in your mindset there. So, but speaking of sickness, the number of Southwest Washington measles cases grows to 61. Clark County in Western Washington has confirmed 2 new measles cases and 2 new locations where possible measles exposure happened. There are now a total of 61 measles cases in Washington, with 54 of those in people who weren't vaccinated. 5 cases couldn't be verified if they were vaccinated, and 2 cases included a child who got only 1 dose of the MMR vaccine. So this measles outbreak kind of continues. We've kind of already talked about this in the vaccines and stuff, but
we had kind of a debate and differences.
We did have a debate
of I don't know if it was differences of opinion, but I was saying how I understand people that are afraid of vaccines.
Right, if your kid has it.
We're asking the people who addicted the country to opioids to make a vaccine to keep us safe.
Right.
And that's just stupid. I mean, how do you... That doesn't seem like a win-win scenario for anyone. So I get people being afraid of it.
Right.
So.
It certainly kind of has a big brother feeling to it when it's like, yes, you got to get something injected into you kind of deal. Now, the science behind it sounds pretty, is pretty
good.
sound, right? And obviously, we've done away with things like smallpox and other diseases through vaccination.
It's the rare reactions, I think, that people are scared of.
Right. And
some people are just phobic about it, period, because it's the government.
Right.
And they'll never do it. But there are others there is, small percentages of people that have horrible reactions or even death to those. So.
Right. And you have kids that do have reactions to it, and they can't have the vaccine. There are kids out there that can't have it.
Imagine? I mean, you don't have kids, but I couldn't imagine if I took my kids, getting them vaccinated, thinking they're safe,
right,
and something happened to them.
Right.
These poor people, and that's the problem with the measles. It's the kids that are in danger. So the scary one is the child who had only had one MMR vaccination so far and got this. Maybe that they had one will help a little bit, but that's when it's most dangerous to children. That's what's scary about this.
Right. And what's dangerous is people are kind of flippant about the measles. I've seen posting even from people locally like, oh, we dealt with measles back in the day and stuff, and it's like, yeah, childhood mortality back in the day was awful. Lots of kids died. The measles is one of the most deadly preventable diseases, if that makes sense. So of the diseases
but only for children, right?
Right, yeah. And it certainly scars people. There's been stories come out of people who had the measles, and it is damaged them for life, whether it's sight or their immune system.
Because they can
like
actually, don't they appear kind of like a chicken pox or something like that, the bumps, and you can have them on your eyes?
Well, not just the actual chicken pox, but just what it does, interior to your body and stuff. And I don't think that's a laughing matter, and it's got to wake some people up. I know 61 cases doesn't seem like a lot, but when you consider how deadly this can be to young kids and things like that, you got to take a look at this and understand that measles killed way more people than the adverse reactions to a vaccine, and the supposed deaths, which, if I remember my research, it's very small, if at all, a deadly. I don't think it's deadly.
That wasn't one that seemed that I ever remember hearing stories about people having horrible reactions to.
Right. And gosh, I remember having the MMR vaccine, and how many cases of kids getting vaccinated, no issues. Probably in the 99 percentile or something.
Remember when you used to get? I don't know if it happened when you were a kid, but when I was a kid, we got vaccinated right at school.
Yeah.
Everybody line up for your shot.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Wellman, but I was terrified of you for years because of that. I was just she has the needles.
So. All right. Should we keep it moving?
Yes, let's keep it moving.
Family of hikers spend 28 hours in the snow. Authorities had to use a snowcat to rescue family 5 from Western Washington last week. The Brown family had parked their truck at the Dingford Creek Trailhead on Monday and hiked 6 miles to the Goldmeyer Hot Springs area in King County. Family spent more than 12 hours hiking in the snow, beginning noon on Monday and getting back to their truck at 12:30 Tuesday morning. Family attempted to drive home but encountered a downed tree, which they were able to cut up, but their truck eventually got stuck in a ditch. About 4 p.m. on Tuesday, county officials using a snowcat located the family. Family did say they were in good spirits and had plenty of food and gas. They do regret hiking in such poor weather.
Yeah, so when you hear snowpocalypse and it's going to be the worst
Stay
weather,
home.
Yeah, stay home. Don't go to a trailhead.
I like that. Snowpocalypse.
Yeah.
They're going to use that on the Sci-Fi Channel.
I know. Okay. I can't wait for Sharkpocalypse in snow or something like that. So, but it's just kind of funny to me. And again, family of 5. It was actually I believe 4 adults, so brother, sister, some kind of not like a dad and mom and 3 kids. There was just one 3-year-old niece that they took along for this.
Oh my gosh, that's scary.
Yeah. So it was just kind of weird. The timing was the worst snowstorm Seattle's experienced in years, and they decided to go to a trailhead. Which
then they got an idea.
It's just like, come on, guys. Just
Wow.
use a little more discretion with that. This kind of silly to me. Don't when you hear the weather is going to be awful, don't go hiking. This makes me feel pathetic though, because like if there's like even an inkling of rain when I lived on the west side, I was just like, no, not going hiking today. Like,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's what was when I lived over on the coast. That was my favorite time to hike.
Was during the
During
rain.
rain. Yeah. The harder, the better.
The harder.
I love
Okay.
hiking in the rain. Oh yeah.
Until you slip.
Yeah. You'll live.
I tell you
Well,
one.
my age you might not, but you will.
No, I'm getting up there. So I remember one time we were hiking by Mount Rainier, and the person I was with, we were smart and only had like 2 water bottles, and she pulls it out and like starts drinking for it, and then it slips out of her hand down a like ravine. Like we just hear it like clink, 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 clink. And that was like, we just started the hike, so that was like half of all our water, and it was like, oh,
Party's over.
yeah, party's over. This is gonna be.
Sure it wasn't beer?
Yeah, I know, right?
You would definitely turn around. All right, just kidding.
More
snow news.
Yeah, more snow news. During last week's snow removal efforts, Spokane never change. 2 Spokane County snowplow drivers were threatened and yelled at. One man was upset about a berm in his driveway and climbed on the equipment to yell at the driver. The man had a holstered gun, but did not threaten the driver with it. Another angry resident told a second driver not to plow a berm on their driveway and added that he may go inside and get his shotgun. This has prompted the possibility of putting GoPro cameras on Spokane snowplows.
Oh, see what happens to you when you live in a big city.
That's so. I had a cousin who worked for Hanson Logging that ran because they were like all hands on deck. Like if you got a grader or something, bring it in here and do some plowing for us. And he said people are awful. Like you were getting yelled at and screamed at for the snow berm. Which, by the way, Scott, how many times have you lived in like northern climates? The berm from the snowplow is like normal. Like I don't get why people are so shocked by this.
Like almost impossible to get. Now, I used to plow like campgrounds I managed
Right,
and stuff.
right.
And sometimes you can try to twist your blade as you go by their driveway a little bit to get it to go the other way. But you've got to be able to finish and do your pattern.
Right.
But even that, going around the campground and mobile home park I used to manage, I'd had people come out and scream at me before too because they just shoveled their driveway. Well, maybe you should have waited till I was done plowing.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. Like,
Maybe you should think the big picture through.
yeah. Just think about. It just goes back to people just not realizing how things work and just being kind of almost self-centered. Really?
I went up to a tower site up north when we started working with Ecliptics for the tower to put our antenna on because they had a metal box that they said I could have, but it was way up at a tower site above Kettle Falls, and I had to go retrieve it. And so we go up there to get this thing, and he warned me before you go in. He said, if you go faster than 5 miles an hour on the gravel road going into that place, there is a guy that will come out of the woods that lives on that road and jump on your car with a shotgun.
Oh boy.
He said it's happened to several people going up already.
Oh,
so
boy.
yeah, that kind of stuff happens. Be careful.
I'm going to throw another logging story in here. A lot of the log truck drivers get a real kick out of people. So you'll have a job site you drive your log truck into for, it may be a month or so. So residents like along this will hear these log trucks like, and get mad. So they'll put their own homemade signs like no Jake brakes, right? And then these log truck drivers who are driving off a hill just laugh. They just laugh, and they'll probably turn their Jake brake on more because the thought that you aren't supposed to brake going down a hill with a fully loaded log truck. Like, do they want that log truck to run right into their house? Like, that's, it's just things like that. Like, people are just not cognizant to how things work in the world.
And if you put up a sign in your driveway, I think me personally that say, I'm coming down a steep hill with a load of logs, I'm going to have to use them, and you have a sign that says that, I'm going to purposely make it louder in your house because you're an idiot.
Just rattle your teeth here. So, and another thing with kind of, not to get in a gun debate, we don't really need this, but why do you have to solve this by going to get your shotgun over snowplows? Like, that's what just...
You got way too much stress in your life,
You've got,
buddy.
like, other issues or something like that.
A
'Cause
lot of them.
I mean, oh, boy. What are you going to do with that shotgun? Like, please, just
Really?
stop.
You're gonna shoot somebody doing their job and removing snow because they left a berm.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Again,
it's not
way
quite...
to shovel.
I mean, are you Wyatt? Was that Wyatt Earp? Like, I just don't... Oh, my gosh. We don't live in the Wild West anymore.
Yeah, me and Brandon are going hunting this weekend. We're going to go find ourselves a snowplow.
I just don't get it.
Right. Why don't you go ahead and wrap us up? You're good at that.
Yes, and I might have a few sports updates for you after this as
All
well.
right.
But, 2019, snowiest February in Spokane since 1939.
It's a weird one.
Yeah, so this is back last week, but Spokane had posted like 10 straight days of measurable snowfall, which is the longest streak since 1939, which I don't know if you're keeping track, is a long time ago.
Oh.
Like,
yeah.
I don't even think, let's see, Spokane in 1939, I don't even think, so Riverfront Park wasn't there. I don't even think Division was there.
Wow.
Like that, to be like, probably some of those bridges weren't
There's
even
still
there.
horses in the streets,
Yeah,
probably.
there probably was. So that's just kind of crazy to me. And then I think Seattle had its snowiest February since like the Truman administration or something like that. So it just kind of
The
cracked me up.
dawn of time.
Yeah, since the dawn of time. So, but yeah, a few sports updates. Congrats to the Chewelah wrestling team. They placed third at the state tournament. That's their highest ranking ever. So, the first time they were invited on the podium as a team there. So,
Nice.
congrats to them. And like, gosh, I think it was like 8 or 9 kids got medals. They were just,
That's
I
huge.
was kind of following them over the weekend and was just like trying to keep track of everybody like in the quarterfinals and semifinals. It was hard because everybody kept winning. And I was like, oh, that weight class and that, because there's like 10 or 12 weight classes to keep track of. And
Well, it was crazy because they got weathered out.
Yeah.
And then they canceled regionals and made it all happen at state, right?
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
crazy.
exactly. And boy, Chewelah cut through those brackets like a hot, like
Nice. Good
hot
job,
butter
guys.
there. And then Jake Jenneret and Caden Krause were state champions.
Wow.
And that was kind of funny because Chewelah parents brought up their cell phones and did like a live broadcast of because they wrestled one right after another, and there were like 50 people watching. And that's like 1% of Chewelah was like tuning in to watch these kids wrestle, which is just
On
hilarious
YouTube.
to me. On YouTube. Well, on Facebook Live or
Okay.
whatever. And what's so funny was the most entertaining part was just listening to the parents like cheer on the match because it was just like, oh yeah, oh okay, yeah, do that. It was just,
Oh, man.
it was yeah.
There wasn't any, like, explicit words, was there?
No. There wasn't. I did enjoy. I think one dad was like, "Oh, he's got it. Yeah, he's gonna win." And the match was like halfway through, and he's just like, "Yep, he's got this. He's done." And actually, in both matches, you could tell that Jake and Caden had the match under wraps. Like they're way stronger and just the better wrestler. So that was really cool to see. Also, it was like 10 o'clock at night when they
So
did
that's against kids from across the state. So that's
Yes.
huge. And that says a lot for our Chewelah wrestling coach, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, Tim and Ken Downey, and then Kim Hogan returned from the
Yes.
Middle East, and he's been helping the team as well. So.
Oh, yeah. And he was a big wrestler when we were
Yeah,
in school.
well,
Yeah, he was the wrestling coach there for a while.
And then I had to ask Tim, what's the highest, they placed before as a team, and he said 1979 they placed 4th.
Wow.
So this is pretty historic for them, and great to see Chewelah kids succeed like that. I remember 2 or 3 years ago, they didn't really know who their next coach was going to be, so it was kind of up in the air, and it was almost like parents were like, "Hey, we've got a MatCat program and summer wrestling, and we need to get this going," And Tim stepped in and has done a fantastic job.
Wow, so
there.
big year for Chewelah wrestling.
Yes.
It's like that one year. So I think it was 78 or 79 that Herm Pine and the football team took state.
I think
I was here. It was huge.
77.
It was huge. It might have been.
Yeah.
That was huge, though. That was huge. And,
Yeah.
for a few years there, I mean, the Chewelah football team was pretty much unstoppable. It was awesome. It was really awesome. They were a good team, especially the year they took state.
Right, so. Right, and the football team's pretty good. It should be pretty good next year.
I want to see Chewelah take another state. I'm waiting for it. I know they can do it.
It'll be fun there.
Yep.
Also, Caden and Jake. Jake's the quarterback on the team.
That's what I mean. I know they can do it. So I kind of see this coming.
So that's good for them. And Scott, did you wrestle?
No. Although I was tiny and wiry.
Okay.
I mean, at 5'4", and I think all the way, through high school, I was like 120 pounds.
Okay.
So I remember Kim tried to get me to wrestle
did he? He's like,
a few times. My problem is I've had chronic asthma since I was born, and if you put me in a headlock, I'm having an asthma attack and a panic attack all in one. Never happened.
It's never good.
It's something I couldn't do. But Kim tried to talk me into it a few times. When I was in school, we had one of the Frizzell boys, Robbie.
Right.
And he was about my height, and man, was he a good wrestler.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I think he won a state championship, too.
I think you're right.
He was a superstar wrestler. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think I made a record for my Matt Cats career. I think I was like 0-18 or something.
You were the biggest losing Chewelah wrestler ever?
But see here, there was always the kids like crying, and I was more like Hulk Hogan.
Kids crying?
There were kids crying. I would be like Hulk Hogan. Like I'd strut up to the match, and then as soon as it got hard, I was just like, "Well, I'm done with this match."
Really?
Yeah, I was like, whatever. Pin me.
It'd probably been worse if it was me. Once the bell went off, I'd have just laid down.
Almost.
I'm done.
It's like, I don't need this. I've got, there's orange slices in the back room. So I think I remember what I would always try to do is like talk, because in Mad Cats, there would be two of you, and you'd be in a line, and you'd just wait for the mat to open up for you to wrestle. And I'd spend that time like talking with the kid and be like, hey, so if I take you down twice, I'll let you take me down twice. We can just have an even scoring system. Like I try to like fix
Did guys ever go along with that, or they just kick your butt?
No, they just kicked my butt. I was always trying to like talk my way out of it. I was just like, hey, listen, I'll let you win, but here, give me a few like points. Just make it look like close, So.
Wow. Why did you take wrestling?
I don't know. It's just something to do. So, but it's funny. I always, I talked to my dad and stuff, and he was like, "Yeah, we could tell you weren't gonna be a wrestler."
You slip him 10 and say, "Let me take you down once, and then you can win."
Right? Exactly.
$10, dude. Yeah, you want to wrestle that Hanson dude? He'll pay you $10 to win.
Right.
I have never heard that in sporting.
Yeah.
Somebody just say I did it, but I gave up every time. I love
it. It was just, hey, wrestling's difficult. I was just kind of like, whatever. If you get me, whatever.
All right. But you never won a match.
Well, I think I did the second year.
Okay.
But yeah, that first year.
You stayed in it longer than
I think I did it for 2 years. Yeah,
right.
I'm pretty sure there. Yeah, but see, the kid I beat, I think I can still. I think I won one match, maybe two. He was one of the criers. Like as soon as you get out of the match, okay. Yeah.
How old were you?
I don't know.
You're
like
little.
whatever. Yeah, little.
Mad Cat 7, 8, 9.
My parents tortured me. They made me go mutton busting. Like you ever see that? Like
no.
Yeah. So they strap kids on sheep and like at rodeos, and they put you on a sheep and run you out of the chute. Oh my gosh, that is terrifying as a kid.
That's humiliating.
It is humiliating. They should do it with adults. Like just get them to the beer garden. And, maybe
just
not a
little
bowl.
adults though, like me.
Yeah.
You can't get a big one. They're not going to fit on the sheep.
Well, maybe not sheep, but like something a little bigger. Not like a bull, because bulls are terrifying. But maybe like a steer or something. Not going to be very
like
aggressive.
A giant pot-bellied pig.
Yeah. Invite the adults to ride like pot-bellied pigs. You'll fill those stands out there. That'd be fantastic.
Could we use that as a fundraiser?
I think so. Oh, yeah.
All right. That's just all a bunch of...
Boy, I just ran it for 20 minutes about Matt Cat Wrestling.
You did. But you know what? You took us perfectly to the half-hour point.
Oh, perfect. Awesome.
I'm Scott.
I'm Brandon.
And that's our show for this week.
Thanks for listening to the Week in Review with Brandon Hansen, Managing Editor of the Chewelah Independent, and Scott Allen, Managing Director of Northern Lights Public Radio. Past episodes are in video format on the Chewelah Independent's website and on KCHW's YouTube channel. This program was recorded and filmed at the KCHW FM studios in Chewelah, Washington.